as an Arpit Baj from Ultratech Cement Limited. It is proceeding.
आपल्याकडे 2 दिवस आला तर
What disturbance?
On some background music is coming, so
background.
some disturbance is. Yeah, now I think it is okay.
What
On
disturbance?
behalf of ISCC and Ultratech Cement Limited, a very warm welcome to today's eminent speaker, Mr. Mahesh Tendulkar, Director, Concrete Research and Engineering Services Limited, Private Limited, who will be talking on concrete, past, present, and future. Welcome ISSC official office bearers, President Shri Shantilalji Jain, Secretary Shri Hemant Vadalkar, Treasurer Mr. Nangaonkar, Mr. Rangnath Satam, and Engineer Madhav Chowdhury for this program. I also welcome Mr. YTV Prasad, who is Zonal Head Technical from Ultratech Cement Limited, Mumbai region. Today we have large number of people who have joined us for this program, for this webinar from various places. The spectrum is very big. We welcome all engineers, architects, technocrats, engineers from various government departments, team of engineers from KDNC, MIDC, MCHI office bearers and members, faculties from various engineering colleges, ISS members, and working professionals from site from various places, and Team Ultratech for this webinar, and the topic is concrete, past, present and future. I thank each and everyone for being virtually present here with us today. Now I call upon Mr. Shantilal Jain to give welcome address. Shantilal ji.
On behalf of ISSC, I welcome my friends from all over India. I welcome especially people from Kalyan Dombivli area because we had a lot of having a program in Kalyan. But unfortunately, because of this COVID, my friend Madhav is not in Kalyan, and we want to not have difficulty. They arrange a program of all our leaders. Mahesh and Mahajan.
Shantilal ji, closer to the mic. You have to be closer to the speaker.
Hello. Hello. Tell others to, please tell others to disturb me. See, today's topic is very important. Are you hearing?
Yes.
See, now it is good. See, the topic is very good, very interesting. Concrete, we all do all buildings on concrete. Without concrete, almost no building is possible. Even in composite, still also we have to use concrete. And I graduated in 81, and now almost 38, 39 years I am in the civil engineering practices, construction, etc. So when we started, it was 113, 124 our practice, and Gamela Pavda were used. Now we know we are doing up to M80 or M100. M25, 30 is minimum. Now 136 and 148 we have already forgotten. But unfortunately, when I go to some rural places or small towns, still I find that they are doing work with Gamela powder. It is very sorry for all of us. I am also member of BIS CD2, where cement, concrete, IS 450, etc. are there. So I want to give message to all my colleagues, friends, cement seller, dealers, that kindly insist for at least mechanical mixing or at least perma. In my own village, I have seen, I have designed the building and they were doing on Gamela. I failed, but they did not fail because I can't go there everywhere. And the contractor is checking there, he is engineer, he is supervisor, he is everything. Request Mahesh to give a message. Only using cement will not solve our problem. Mixing is a very big issue, and with RMC we have saw in cities, metro cities, and big cities this problem is solved, but in villages it is not solved. With this, I request Mahesh to take up the program further. Thank you.
Before he take up the program, recently two eminent personalities in our field, Mr. M.D. Mule and G.C. Chaudhary, has left this world. As a tribute to their work for the construction industry, I call Mr. Hemant Vadalkar to say a few words about them. Mr. Hemant.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. On behalf of Indian Society of Structural Engineers, I welcome you all to this very interesting webinar, which is jointly arranged with Ultratech Cement and ISSE. Now, our beloved professors, from which many of the talented engineers from VJTI, they learned a lot. And I am also a student of these two stalwarts. One is Professor M.D. Mule, who taught us concrete and structure analysis in the structure department. And second professor is Professor G.B. Chaudhary. He is a very well-known personality, and he has designed so many buildings very, very economically. And he is well-known for his waste shear element theory, on which he has put the foundations on very soft strata, and many of the structures are still standing without any problems. So on this occasion, we must remember these two stalwarts and personalities from VJTI, and this is a tribute to these our gurus. That is what I want to say. One more important thing I just want to mention here, that Professor Chaudhary was very much fond of the environment. He was always talking about the Vasundhara, and we have to protect our environment. Today is a World Environment Day, and then again we have to protect our environment. And there is a message is we have to design the structures which are green structures. We have to of course go for green buildings. For even concrete also, we can make green concrete. I think Mahesh will touch upon these points also during his presentation. But this is, I think, the very, very important part. We have to restrict the global warming. Now, due to this corona effect, you must have noticed that there is a lot of reduction in the pollution, air pollution, water pollution, and land pollution, which is all man-made problem, what we have created. And the results are, you can see now, there is a drastic reduction in the pollution. So, of course, I think in the future of your all the plannings, we must see that we are protecting our environment. We have only one single earth. So we have to just preserve it and pass it on to our next generation. That's what I think the message for this World Environment Day. And I appeal to all the members, if they are not a member of ISSE, please become our member and support the organization. And at least we can plant one tree individually. I think that will help our environment. With this, I will just pass it on again to Mr. Arvind Mahajan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vadalkarji. Thank you so much. Now it's time for which we are eagerly waiting for. I request Mr. Satam to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Mahesh Tendulkar, and to request him to present his topic. Mr. Satam.
Yes. Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. I would like to introduce today's presenter, Mr. Mahesh Tendulkar. He is a postgraduate from IIT Mumbai in Construction Technology and Management. He has more than 27 years of an experience in the field of construction technology and construction. And he's heading the committee of an innovative technology approval mechanism formed by the government of Maharashtra Water Resource Department. He also worked for the Mumbai Metro One Private Limited for the execution of Versova-Andheri Ghatkopar Metro project. He also headed the advisory service division of Ambuja Cement. He has a vast experience in the bridge inspection and non-destructive testing, and so instrumental in underwater inspection and retrofitting of the bridges in critical condition for the PWD Maharashtra. He also worked with Tata Electrical Company for the construction of their thermal power plant at Bombay and hydropower plant at Veera Raigad. Today Mahesh is going to talk on interesting topic, I think concrete past, present and future. So please welcome the Director of Concrete Research and Engineering Service Private Limited, Mr. Mahesh Tendulkar. Mahesh, over to you. Thank you.
You have to unmute, Mr. Mahesh. You have to unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry. So thank you, Mr. Satam and Jain sir and my friends Madhav, Hemant and Mr. Mahajan. And I am very much glad to deliver this lecture, especially for the memorial lecture for Mule sir and Chaudhary sir, and also this World Environment Day. And the topic is concrete past, present, and what we should look for in future. That is the most important thing. And as rightly said by Jain sir, we are changing a lot, but only in the metro cities. But the moment we go few 50 kilometers or 100 kilometers out of the cities like Mumbai or Pune, we find a lot of difference and same old tradition is going to continue. So today I'm emphasizing on the situation of the concrete. And whenever we see concrete, what is changed in concrete? Generally, we find that only okay from 7x10 mixer we shifted to RMC. So this is a by and large perception or imagination. The first thing which we find is concrete from 7x10 mixer changed to RMC. But it is not like that. There are other factors which we should consider, that what was the requirement in past? What is the material which we have passed? Mixed proportion, mixed design, as Jain sir was telling, 1, 1.5, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, whatever we call. How we are production the concrete, what was the quality control, most important is the workmanship, supervision, and how the concrete was performing in old days. And if you rightly see, we have improved a lot in material as a cement, material as the aggregate. But what we are lagging behind is the mainly supervision, workmanship, and quality control. So that is the most important part, and that is the reason today I'm going to cover few points. Maybe with the video clips I will try. Maybe because of this bandwidth problem, some of you may not get the streaming properly, but we'll try today. Now, this is what I have just compared all these aspects point wise. So requirement of concrete is past was a simple concrete. Nothing was mentioned. And material which we used was 33 grade cement. Aggregate, we were having a lot of choice. Aggregate available was ample. And we were using the old tradition 1:4 concrete. Nowhere we were talking about water cement ratio in 1:4 concrete. But still, old structures are still standing and performing very well also in some cases. And concrete was produced either by hand mix or by site mix. And the moment we change, so we were talking about grade M20, M25, M30. Even sometimes we are now easily producing M60 and M70 grade comfortably. M80 onward is still a nightmare for the site engineer to produce consistent M80 grade of concrete for the structure. We'll come to the come to this point later. And material which we are using now 33 is actually absolute, and we are having 53 grade cement, OPC or PPC, and aggregate is becoming a big problem. There's a scarcity of aggregate, and we are now using admixtures as the demand of water cement ratio is decreasing. And we are doing mixed design. So we are talking about grade which will give the specific strength at 28 days. And apart from this site mix, hand mix, we have started using ready mix concrete. Now, what is coming in future? Slowly and steadily, especially in infrastructure projects, you can notice there is a service life, 100-year service life of the structure. So durability is now governing factor, and concrete strength and grade is becoming slowly secondary requirement. So durable structure is coming in the picture. And supplementary cementitious material, use of supplementary cementitious material along with the microfiber material, that is a must when we go for higher grade of concrete, say 40, 50 and above. Manufactured aggregates, nobody ever thought of producing sand, because we also faced a lot of scarcity in our metro projects in 2009, and then slowly we have shifted from natural sand to 100% crushed sand. Admixture is not going to become a common admixture it will be a tailor-made admixture. Mixed proportion, it is a specific requirement of a customer. Somebody will say, I want to do a my1 shuttering. We want particular strength in 3 days or particular strength in 1 day. So it will be a specific design, stressing on 5th day, stressing on 7th day. So we have to design the concrete as per the requirement at specific age, maybe early age. If it's a mass foundation, maybe the later age of 56 days. It will be performance-based mixed design and not only the 28-day criteria for mixed design. Production, as Jain sir has rightly pointed out, I have just scratched out that hand mix, though it is not officially scratched, but it should be scratched, and I will explain you some of the cases. And apart from side mix, now people are going for dedicated tailor-made RMC plants, very small plant, which can produce 100 cubic meter, 50 cubic meter in a day, and they can produce their own concrete. So this is now coming in future. And balance part, apart from the material, what was the quality control was not important earlier, because 15, 20, 1 to 4 concrete structures were load bearing, or sometimes G+1, G+3. So that was not the important factor as a quality control, but still, because of the workmanship, supervision, and performance, the quality control was definitely better and good quality control. And nowadays, we are talking about cube testing. And whenever there is a cube failure, there is always a post-mortem, which we call as the NDT. I will just share my experience when we are having our laboratory. Nowadays, NDT is very common for the new structure. But if you see, non-destructive testing is a tool for assessment of structure strength, especially for the old structure. When we are doing this bridge inspection, we have tested more than about 150 bridges for NDT assessment of the bridges. It is a tool for condition, means the structural audit. And unfortunately, we are using it for the fresh concrete, 28 days concrete. You'll not believe sometimes users ask to test the NDT at the 40 days. I don't know what is the purpose and what is the meaning of that. And this is a problem of workmanship, supervision. Nobody is really doing job by their heart of that side. So performance concrete is not up to the mark. And when we'll go in the future, already we have started in the developing cities like Mumbai. Apart from cube test, there will be durability test specified. And not only that, some NDT of some 5% or 10% of the structure will be a part of the quality control measure. The another thing is the assessment of casting C2 concrete strength by maturity index, which is a very, very interesting and advanced science, which is coming in the picture, and it will, I'm sure it will grow very rapidly within next decade. This is a big problem, is the workmanship, supervision, and performance. We have to improve. We have to improve. There is no alternative for that. So, what is the future? Whenever we are having this future, where is the real estate, infrastructure, metros, highways, airports, bridges? So, you name the any structure, port, sewage treatment plant, dam. The base of that structure is concrete. And that is the most important. We must understand our concrete. And nowadays, unfortunately, nobody is going in the deep of concrete mix design and requirement of concrete. So we must understand concrete, and that's why I always call this as a KYC. That means this is a different KYC. We must know our concrete in 2 stages. Concrete when it is in plastic stage and when concrete is in hardened stage. Now let's see why concrete, because we know concrete is the cheapest material available for construction. You can produce the concrete from the locally based available material and produce the concrete with some quality control measure. So that is the reason we must use this concrete, and we are using this concrete on the large scale in our country. This is one just small some analysis which I have done about the estimation of concrete in our country. Just based on cement plant installed capacity, they say it is around 500 million ton, and it is growing about 5 to 8% every year. And out of that, almost 64% is going in the housing sector. Infrastructure commercial is almost around 30%. If you see, 500 million ton, even if you consider 75% of the capacity utilization of this plant, we are producing 375 million ton cement in a year in our country. And if we assume 60% is going in concrete, so 225 million ton cement is used to produce concrete with a nominal cement content of say 8 bags per cubic meter. We are producing almost 1.5 million cubic meter concrete per day, which is around 675 crores per day. So we are handling such a big economy of our country, and what we are doing, as Jai sir has rightly said, what we are doing at site. I'm not saying all site, but majority of site, this is the condition. We are producing the concrete by old tradition gamelas. Absolutely gangwalas, gamelas, they don't know anything about water cement ratio, proportioning of mix, and they are casting the slab. This is my own experience in 2004 in one of the district area of Maharashtra. And I was standing on one of the slab, and this is the concrete which was produced. So as a curiosity, I thought, let us take the cube of as the concrete which is produced by this mixer operator. And let us assume what is the strength of this tube. And then what we observed, the actual cube test results of M25, M20 grade concrete was almost 280, means almost 130, 140% above the characteristic strength. So we get confused. So what is the conclusion from this? Whether mixed design is really important or जो चल रहा है वो चलने दो. So whether it is whether we are fools who are insisting mixed design or what they are doing is correct. But that is the reason I was telling in the beginning. Now the focus is changing, and strength is going to become secondary. Even though we achieve the strength, durability is going to hamper of such structure because of non-control of water cement ratio. And this is most important. You will find that all our cement companies in India, they have changed from wet process to dry process. They have very good quality control. They are producing very good cement quality. But unfortunately, we are not using that cement rightly at the site, and we add extra water, and we lose the benefit of good quality cement, which is produced by our good scientists in our country. So, yes, I'm saying evolution of batching and mixing of concrete in our country. Earlier, 7x10 mixer. Then I remember in 96 or so, way batching was made compulsory by some government projects. So this in between these way batches were introduced, but it was really eyewash. Then we started the CP30 batching plant, compartment batching plant, and now we have the batching plant which can produce 3 cubic meter concrete within 1 minute. So we are having such a high production capacity. But same thing we are discussing, just go few kilometers away. And this is my own experience in one of the district area in Satara of Maharashtra. We have delivered one lecture in the evening for cement company, and then one contractor complained, sir, this cement is having some problem. So whenever I open the shuttering next day, edges are breaking. So he says there is some problem, cement is not having the strength. So next day we visited the site, and this is what normally, by and large, column casting is happening in our district area. Now you tell me, what is the proportion, what is the cement content, what is the platform? We talk a lot of things in seminar, but whether that goes and implements at site. So this is a typical situation. We asked him to cast the column again in front of us, and this is the column which he was complaining. So this column he cast maybe 12 hours prior, and after removing the shutter, he says this edge is breaking. Now I am sure if the condition of the production is like this is much better concrete, because if they are producing concrete by such a method, the column is at least standing. They are not measuring the water cement ratio, and this is a PT, and this is a situation happening in our country, and this is a whole structure G+7 building standing on columns which are cast by such kind of things. So this is a typical scenario in overall condition of our country. So we say, yes, concrete, we have RMC, so we have solved the problem. Yes, RMC can solve the problem provided we implement a whole system of RMC. Truck mixer will come, it will pump the concrete, press the concrete, compact properly, shuttering is good, our structure is good. But my observation is, what about casting of columns? Nowadays, in many cities, even in cities like Mumbai, transit mixer will come to site and they will not use pump for transporting concrete. They will use some Indian jugaad, and then they face a lot of problem. And this is a real case study in one of the building in Mumbai. They were transfer girder, and there was a transfer girder cast at this location, maybe I think 7th floor, and there was a fear to the consultant that there is something wrong. So he want to take the core of that column. And after taking core, it was surprised concrete has not achieved even about 60% of strength even after 3 months. So what went wrong? So we analyze, and then this is we find. When transit mixer comes to site, we unload that concrete in our typical transporting equipment which we call as a Urbana. And then this Urbana will go from this winch, and then they were placing all these huge shear walls, columns, by such a crude method. So transit mixer was waiting at site almost 3 hours. And what happened then, we have taken the core, even you can see congestion was so high, heavy, that whenever concrete was poured from the side, there was aggregate was not flowing to the surface, and you can see the surface, there is absolutely no aggregate or very little aggregate in the core surface area, cover zone. Even we cut this cover zone and tested this tube core, still we found it was not even matching 90% strength required. And you can see some clips. I hope you must be you must be viewing this clip. This is the typical, when we go for high grade concrete, lot of this means precaution is for the admixture, crushed sand. You can see concrete itself is segregating even while unloading from the transit mixer. And then this concrete will be taken to the further level by this winch. And then we perform this, we say this is a high-rise structure, good structure, and but actually this is a crude method, because pump is not arranged, because for pumping concrete they require some minimum cubic meter or there's some extra charges, so we don't afford to pay that additional price for pumping, and this is a crude method is being for casting the columns. So whenever we want to use RMC, use the full system. Otherwise, our old traditional system, which Remedios also he was telling, side mix here built the whole Hirandani Powai structure by side mix concrete. So don't go partially, go to the fully system and use that system for getting the benefit. And this is my very favorite slide about the cement. Who is selecting the cement? So it is the engineer's choice. So it was supposed to be engineer's choice, but when we go to the common man, they believe in advertising. So they believe in branding. Builder will believe in, the owner will take the decision. In project, purchase officer will take the decision. And everywhere, as a poor civil engineer has no option to use the cement which is selected by the purchase department or the owner or the common man. And there are very misguiding slogans on cement bag. I was told that now it will be banned in our country. They are having some rule. So this is how the selection of cement. And what are selection criteria? Our selection criteria is what is the cost per bags. Now the cement prices are going and reaching to 350, 360 rupees per bag. So even we get 5 rupees, 10 rupees cheaper, we shift the brand, we shift the type of cement very frequent. So we judge the cost bag per cubic meter. And we have implemented at some of the sites in Mumbai where we were working as a consultant, work out the concrete mix design with particular cement and see the benefit. Really that cost reduction of 5 rupees is worth or not. Otherwise, we have to put extra cement, extra dose of admixture, and ultimately our concrete mix is not economical. So whenever we are comparing the cement prices of cement per bag or ton, always compare with the per cubic meter cost of cement by doing trial mixes. And another part I want to highlight is when I was visiting one of the site in Maharashtra, Aurangabad, SRPC was insisted because it was a sulfate treatment plant, but there were very high chlorides. So it is a really ingenious choice. Whenever sulfate and chlorides both are critical, SRC is not the right option. SRC can be used only if chlorides are not present or chlorides are minimal. So this is the technical part as far as cement is concerned. And apart from cement, as I said, the present cement is not a OPC cement. We are now blending OPC, then we are blending fly ash, we are blending GGBS, we are adding microsilica, we are adding ultrafine GGBS, Alcofine brand. So we are going to the higher and higher grade by packing density, improving the packing density, initiating for the secondary hydration. But today I'm not going to touch that part in greater detail. But whenever you are going for high grade, we have to use blended cement or we have to use the supplementary cementitious material at site. But be cautious, if we are using fly ash or GGBS at site, we should have proper batching mixing plan. Otherwise, we can't add 7/10 mixer, use 7/10 mixer and add GGBS in mixer. No, it is just impossible. Then we are really playing with the life of the structure. Then we come to next part, which is a concrete structure. If we talk about concrete, we are always cautious about selection of cement because cement is the costliest material. But if you see the concrete structure, majority part is around 65 to 70%, which is aggregate. But cost-wise, that is the minimal part. So we don't look at the part of aggregate, and but when we go to the higher aggregate become more critical and paste will be very strong. Aggregate concrete will not fail in bond, but aggregate will fail. So whenever we go for 50 and above concrete, we should be very cautious about various types of coarse aggregate and fine aggregate. And nowadays, we are having no option but to use coarse aggregate, 10 mm, 20 mm single phase aggregate, VSI. I will touch that point in detail later. Then crushed sand also, we have fine aggregate also. Now it is a manufactured crushed sand. So we have good plants available in our, even I've seen in district level also, there are good manufacturing plants of aggregate. And this is a PT of our planning, I will say. See, this was one of the infrastructure project which we are visiting, and it is a road project where at least 5 lakh to 6 lakh cubic meter of concrete is going to be produced. And during our first visit, what we observed that at site there's a fleet of transit mixer, fleet of placer boom was ready, but crusher was not ready. For such a huge concrete quantity, we must have in-house crusher, and crusher, according to me, for any road project, crusher is the heart of that particular project. If crusher is delayed, the whole project will get delayed. If the crusher is not properly designed, our concrete will have a lot of problem during our execution. So this is aggregate. I will say right from the crusher, as a civil engineer, we should get involved in planning and designing of the crusher also, because that will give the effect. As we were discussing about gang wala concrete, bungalow slab, if you go to any district level, they use only 20 mm aggregate and sand. And when you ask them, surprisingly, some engineers will also tell you that yes, 20 mm cement, 20 mm aggregate will give the strength. So we should put more 20 mm aggregate. So this is one of the biggest myth, that 20 mm aggregate gives the strength. Another thing is, don't take tension, put extra bag of cement and get good concrete. No, it is not like that. More cement is more strength. Again, it is a secondary myth. Extra cement will have a lot of other problems like cracking, shrinkage, that we may discuss at the end depending on the time. And the last and most important, हमारे यहाँ पे तो gang वाला concrete का आता है. So we can't design concrete mix design. We cannot design mix for gang wala. Why not to design a concrete? What is the purpose of this all gang wala? That concrete should get unloaded easily when they unload from the trolley. So slum could be 125, 150 mm. So design the concrete which will suit the requirement of gang wala. I have seen a lot of mixed designs. They design it for 80 mm, 100 mm slum, and then they hand it over to this gang wala. And then there is a whole problem of strain durability will create a problem. Here, always most important point is we must use 10 mm aggregate, 10 mm coarse aggregate. This will ensure optimum packing, reduce the segregation, improve the cohesiveness, and give better concrete. And if you go to any crusher, there will be ample of 10 mm crusher, 10 mm aggregates available. It is not that aggregate, this crusher produce only 20 mm and sand. No, 10 mm is also available. Sometimes they crush this 10 mm to produce the manufactured sand. So that is the result. My sincere request to all site engineers to visit the crusher at least once, and then you decide which aggregate we have to use in concrete. So this is the most important tip. You must visit the crusher, and what we should observe at the crusher. See, this is a typical, on the right hand corner, what we see, this is a typical crusher, which was old age crusher, which I have seen till 90s or maybe 2000. Even there might be few crushers available, but now I don't think such kind of crushers are available. They were having the rotary crushers. So it was a jaw crusher which was crushing the aggregate, and this rotary screen was screening the aggregate. So always there is a problem that 10 mm was mixed with the grit and 20 mm was oversized. So this was a typical problem when we were using this crusher aggregates from this crusher. I still remember we have, as per code, 10 mm, 20 mm, 40 mm aggregate size. But when Mr. Remedios was teaching in his book also, he was classifying this 15 and 30 mm because at that time we were not getting single size aggregate by this VSI aggregate. So what we should see at the crusher? First is the what kind of one stage crusher is a jaw crusher. Second stage crusher will be the cone, and third stage crusher will be the VSI crusher. Actually, vertical shaft impactor, which is a VSI, which is a shaping tool. So which will give the good shape. It will reduce the flakiness elongation index of aggregate, and we get single size aggregate. So if it is a three-stage crusher, excellent. But still, I have found that many old crushers, even I have found a combination of this rotary crusher with VSI at one of the plant in Maharashtra. Even there is a combination of cone crusher and rotary crusher. Sometimes jaw crusher and VSI. So we have different combination based on local intellectuals available by the manufacturer and the production of this aggregate. So visit the crusher and see the screening time. If it is a rotary screen, we will not get the single size aggregate. If it is a vibratory screen like this, we will see very good quality of single size aggregate. So what we call 85-90% passing from particular size, 10 mm or 20 mm. So this is very important. Crusher, we must do some study of aggregate at crusher level. Then the latest development which is coming is the wash sand. Especially for this high grade concrete, we are eliminating the problem of dust, say 75 micron particles, which is the precious material in this crushed sand. So this is removed by washing the sand by different mechanics. And not only that, recently there is an air classified sand is also available, and I will show you some of the plants. Even these are not even imported sand; these are our indigenous sand plants. What they are doing, they are doing nothing. After this VSI, they are extracting the fines from the crushed sand. So this is a very good technique. I can just show you one system. This is a typical system of this air classified crusher. The problem with the washing is that we don't sludge is a big problem. Typical air classified, so it sucks. I think there is some problem with the video streaming, but I think next video I will show you. Whenever this crushed sand is on the bed, it will take from the system finer. These are the fine bed which are unknown particles for our sand. So that 75 micron fines one will be reduced and we get a good quality of crushed sand. And when we use this quality of crushed sand, then we can produce again comfortably M80, M100 grade of concrete by our proper mix design. Here you can see this is a normal crushed sand, VSI crushed sand, and this is so-called crushed sand, but it is actually a grit. It is a crusher dust. It is a not process. It is simply waste product from any crusher, especially this rotary crusher. And these are a very small comparison about how this affects. I just compared about manufactured sand by this VSI and normal stone dust. You can see the main difference is 75 micron passing. Here it can be controlled to 5 to 15 or 18% range, 5 to 15 or 20% range. Here there is no control and there is no consistency, and water demand will vary during concrete production, and it's very difficult to control concrete with such kind of crushed sand. So this is the main reason that we should ensure that whenever you are producing concrete with manufactured sand, it must be a VSI or manufactured sand. If it is air classified, it is well and good. Now, next point I want to highlight is the laboratory. Now, in this laboratory, we are really what I can say, we don't want to spend a single rupee on our laboratory. You can see we are developing these structures of M22 building, M30, G+22 buildings. But what is the testing material laboratory at site? Where is the testing lab? So this is the testing lab. So very pathetic situation of such labs. And you can see this is the most important heart of our quality control. And there we want to minimize the cost. If the normal range of CTM machine is about 1.6 lakh rupees to 3.5, we will ask, usse bhi sasta aata hai kya? Then somebody will say, okay, 60,000, 80,000, okay, very good, 50,000. Then go to the manual mode. So you just imagine we are producing crores of rupees worth concrete, and we are saving few lakhs, which is a material, which is a machine which tests the whole quality control of our concrete. And this was my particular thesis of my MTech project. So I just compared with the metro project analysis of Mumbai Metro, and with the latest projects all which are going, they have specified very good methods of quality control QAP. So whole lab equipment was costing 23 lakhs rupees. And for that particular project, there was about 4 lakh cubic meter of concrete was going to be consumed. The cost of lab equipment was 6 rupees per cubic meter, and the average concrete rate of all grade was around 6,350. So lab equipment cost will be 0.01% of concrete cost. So there is no way, there is no logic to spend so much time to negotiate, to select the cheapest material for laboratory. One should have bare minimum laboratory at site. I will say if it is a normal building, now I'm talking for the district level or the extended suburb like Kalyan, Dombivli, where we don't get RMC, but we are getting the crushed sand. According to me, okay, TTM machine, okay, which is the costliest material, let us remove that. We can test in the third party lab, or some cement companies are giving this tube testing service. We can utilize that. But at least we should have bare minimum testing equipment at site. So at least we should have sieve analysis. Even if we don't have full set of sieves, at least 20 mm, 4.75, 600, 150 micron is required along with the weigh balance. So we can find the problem with our crushed sand or even the aggregate size. Specific gravity, we require very nominal equipment called picnometer, very negligible cost. Moisture absorption, even if not oven, hot plate is sufficient. But do something and get the figures at site by testing and make a habit of testing aggregate at least once in a week. So one should have normal technician at site, one quality control engineer at site, and they should do some aggregate testing once in a week. And then after you test it regularly, we can just by our judgment, 20 mm and 20 mm aggregate can be accepted based on the visual inspection. Even silt content or delineation material, 75 micron washing is a big lengthy process, but we have to test at least once in a week. So we will come to know what is the material which you are getting at site, and most important is don't make any contingency for this number of cube mold and slump mold, because only 6 cube mold. There are many sites they are having only 6 cube mold. One set for 3 days and 7 days, one set for 20 days. But according to me, casting one extra set is always beneficial, because I am going to touch that point in the end, how it helps. According to me, one site should have minimum 18 cube molds, minimum 18 cube. Why? In between, we should test for 3 days also. I will tell you the reason, simple reason. Suppose there is somebody who has a doubt, अरे cement में कुछ problem है, there is a problem with the cement batch. Okay, do the concrete trial, test for 3 days, compare your result with 3 days. So it is like acid test. Now many times after this lockdown, many people are asking, 3 months cement is stagnant, whether to use or not. Yes, as per code, go to lab, test it for cement, and then you can use it. But for a site engineer, conduct the trial, take the strength of 3 days. If it is matching with your earlier one, yes, we can go ahead with that cement. So this is a bare minimum requirement of testing, and I don't think this will cost not more than 50 to 60,000 rupees, and it can be easily maintained. Very small. I will say, if we don't have CTM machine, we can use a small corner of our porta for such kind of testing. Very easy, but somewhere we have to start. And this is I want to just share this picture for Jain sir. We have found when we are working for Ambuja at Nasik, I am proud to say that we have proud and many contractors have shifted from this Gamela to Pharma along with the gangwalas. The gangwalas are reluctant to use this 40-liter Pharma, 50-liter Pharma. So what we found that if we can make small Pharma of 10-liter and 5-liter or 15-liter, which they can handle independently. So instead of Gamela, I will say this Pharma is nothing but Gamela of known volume. And we have implemented such kind of mixed design. Even fly ash was also added in some good control contractor has added at their site, and we have produced very good quality control at site, even by using this gangwala. Now chemical admixtures. Now I don't want to go much detail in chemical admixtures, but when we go for higher grade, we are creating a lot of problem, because admixtures is becoming very critical, especially with the crushed sand. So before going to that, what is the main effect of admixture? There are two main effects. We want to increase the initial workability. So that is a work cap is super plasticizer or plasticizer, and we want to delay the setting time. So ideally there are two effects which are very common. I'm not saying ideally, there are two common effects which we use. So initial slump will be increased, so we can transport the concrete, place the concrete, compact the concrete. And if it is a big pore, we don't want a cold joint, so we want to delay the setting time. That is called as a retarder or retardation. But nowadays, these admixture companies have done very good study, and they have come up with the admixture which is having the both effect. They call it as a super plasticizer or retarding super plasticizer. So depending on the requirement, they have the retarders dosage inbuilt in one pack system. Ideally, we can add two separate systems, but now we can have one pack system which is having retarding super plasticizer. If we are at the RMC plant, I have seen many plants, many reputed plants, they have two pack system and they use that retarder separately and admixture plasticizer separately. So this can be used, but normal site, I will say, for site mix concrete, better to go only with the retarding super plasticizer. Then we must know what is the base of admixture available. There are two kind of base mainly in our country. One is a SNF base, which is sulfonated naphthalene formaldehyde, and one is a PCE base, that is polycarboxylic ether. Now, first one is generally used for the lower grade of concrete, which we have used very commonly when we are using this natural sand. So natural sand, M40, M50 grade concrete was possible with SNF, but nowadays we have this latest admixture, which is a PC admixture. Again, there are parameters: low PC, mid PC, high PC. I don't know how they classify it, but performance-wise, we have to judge it, and that can be used as a for admixture dose. Now, I am talking about some district area. Always add admixture in liquid form, especially in the 7/10 mixer. Don't go for any powder-based admixture, because I have seen in this pouch I have collected from one of the site. Slab concreting was going on. That pouch was costing 50 rupees and having a 50 gram of powder. And then I have collected something, and then after washing, I have just studied that material, and there was some instructions. So always read instructions carefully. Now, what is the main instruction they have given? Maintain proportion of mix as per standard and maintain water cement ratio to 0.4. And this concrete was used by Gangwar. So ideally, if you are doing any admixture, anything, there is no harm, but study first technical data sheet, TDS, and manufacturer test certificate. Conduct the trial, control trial with the admixture trial, and find what is the difference you are getting. What is the effect, how slump is increasing, how this setting is delayed, what are the benefits you are getting, water reduction is there, and then only use this chemical admixture. So this is very common. This chemical admixture is not there is no magic. It is only giving negative charge on the cement particles, so they repel each other, and this entrapped water is free, so slump is increased. I am going to share this presentation slide at the end. I will ask the organizer to share these slides, because just arbitrarily I have given one example how it works. Arbitrarily mix 400 cement, 200 water, simply, so that we can understand 0.5 water cement ratio. So if there is no admixture, we get X slump and Y strength. So this is a control mix. The moment we add, say, 1% dose of admixture, now this, because of the admixture, this water is free. So what will happen? Slump will increase. So there is an increase in workability. But our target is not to increase the workability. We are happy with the increase, same workability. So what we can do, reduce water and add the admixture. So we have added 170 liter water and 1% of admixture. When we reduce the water, what has happened to water cement ratio? It is reduced. So slump is again back to normal, but strength is increased. So there is an increase in strength. But why admixture is becoming very popular is the third point. What we can do, even we don't want to increase the strength, so reduce the water, reduce the cement, and maintain the water cement ratio same. so we can reduction in cement content. And that is the reason I will say M20, M25 above makes, we must use the admixture, then only we can produce good cohesive concrete at any site. So this is a simple dispersion mechanism of admixture. Now I am coming to the next point, which is a very, very common problem for our structure, cracks in concrete. My many friends in our ready-mix concrete industry, they are always going to one side to other side to identify udhar crack aa gaya, idhar crack aa gaya. I don't understand why this crack is a baby for RMC supplier. Many times consumer will blame RMC supplier. No, it is not like that. There are many reasons of cracks, and one of the reasons is mix. But according to me, our major reason is ineffective curing. So if we improve the curing, we will eliminate this crack absolutely. I'm going to show you some pictures and clips how we can eliminate. And these shrinkage cracks are through and through. So this is a common normal building. At any level we go, we can see kind of cracks, and that is only in the slab. Especially, you will not find such cracks in a column, wall, or shear wall, because you will understand there is a very simple logic. Why shrinkage occurs, why crack occurs is because of the evaporation loss. If concrete water from concrete evaporation is protected, concrete will not crack and it will not lose the strength. If you see the column, we are retaining the water members at least for 12 hours and sometimes 18 to 24 hours. So there is no possibility of evaporation loss from the column. Even in the slab, you can see crack will start from the top and not from the bottom, because bottom shutter is retained. So high surface area is exposed, which is a slab, concrete slab, and from there water from concrete will evaporate and definitely it will start cracking. So this is the best way of protecting concrete is by use of plastic sheet. This is a picture or the view from our one of the road project site. Contractor was very much reluctant in the beginning to put plastic sheet. Of course, this is not an extra cost because we have to put some plastic sheet at the between DLC and PQC. Same plastic sheet has been applied on the top. So what is the benefit of this? You just imagine there is a concrete surface, we put plastic sheet, water from concrete. So this concrete will start hydration. This is exothermic reaction. Because of that, water will be heated and water will try to come out from the concrete surface. But because of this plastic sheet, it will condense. So all these water vapors will be condensed, and you can see droplets within few hours or even half an hour. You can see such droplets beneath the plastic sheet. So we are improving the humidity level beyond 90% between the concrete surface and the plastic sheet. But precaution is plastic sheet should be absolutely watertight, so it should be strictly placed on the concrete surface and not above the concrete surface. Otherwise, it will be a disaster and there will be wind tunnel effect. So there will be more evaporation of water. Now you can see immediately after spreading curing compound. You can see this is what picture slightly problem with the video, but you can see we spray this compound and curing compound dries within 30 to 45 minutes. This is placed. So we protect the concrete within 3 hours or 2-3 hours after placing, and absolutely this road has absolutely zero crack if it is protected with plastic sheet. Then sometimes there is a confusion. Now we are doing a lot of temperature control concrete. So thermocol is also used. But since we have some time, I will just explain the use of thermocol and plastic sheet, the difference in thermocol and plastic sheet. The plastic sheet will condense the water, improve the humidity, and it will avoid the evaporation loss. But thermocol will do the additional thing. It will act as an insulator. Suppose our core temperature of concrete which will increase to 70-80 degree, and surface temperature of concrete will try to match the ambient temperatures of 40-45 degrees. Then there is a temperature gradient and could be a problem of thermal stresses and concrete will crack internally. This will happen mainly in the mass concrete. And if you see, all our infrastructure projects are nothing but mass concrete. So that has to be a temperature. Even I can say our metro project, our placing temperature was restricted. Proudly I can say it was the first time in a metro project of our country, 30 degree was placing temperature for all structures, including pile up to girder. So 30 degree was specified. Of course, we have done a lot of trials for that. And then I will just show you. So if it is a insulation is required, then we require, so that I will just skip this. You can see here. See, this is third pour of our raft of one of the high-rise building under process. And you can see the first pour here. So if this was cast, you can see absolutely no curing is done for 7 days. And only plastic sheet and thermocool insulation by thermocool vertical shutters are intact. That also you can notice. And the second pour where I was standing and taking this clip, you can see thermocool is doing the job of insulation. So we are controlling the gradient within 20 to 25 degree specified by the consultant. And now you can see the turns. See here, you can see here droplets. You can clearly see droplets of water below plastic sheet, which is the best curing method to avoid crack, and insulation to prevent the control the thermal gradient. And this I found very interesting system. One of our project manager or road in charge of one of the road company in North India, he has developed through Jain irrigation a good sprinkler system for, this is I think 45 kilometer stretch of road is there. So what they have done, they have identified bore block, water bore at every 3 to 4 kilometer, and they have prepared this sprinkler system. So they get the connection from the local bore or the local well, and the whole system of curing is controlled by only 2 people, only 2. One person operating the pump of bore and one person or the lady operating this on and off nozzle of this system. You can see here, this is a red color is a nozzle. So she used to open 10 nozzles at a time. So she will start from one end. If the nozzles are at say every 15 meter, so 150 meter, she will operate for say half an hour, go to the next 10, go to the next 10, and the whole sprinkler system, not only effective, but I am sure this is a cost effective. This is a clip, let's see how it runs, slightly bigger clip. You can see the sprinklers are going, they are operating here. Slightly problem. Yeah, and you see one person, there is a lady over here. She was opening the nozzles and was taking the pump. So effective, cost effective, as well as technically effective system for road concrete curing system. Now I am coming to the last part of my presentation. We have some 5 to 7 minutes about a cube test. Many times we judge the cube test and we are happy. Yes, M30 we got M35, M60 we got M68, M70. But according to me, cube testing is one of the parameters which will give you the indication whether all process which you have followed for producing concrete is correct or not. So I am showing you one of the picture. Suppose if it is the M30 grade concrete, cube is giving M40 strength, but the structure cast with this is like this. So absolutely, this has no meaning. So only cube strength is not the criteria. We should see the concrete finish at site. So all process, placing, compaction, finishing, everything is equally important to this cube test results. And sometimes it happens reverse also. Cube will fail and we'll say, oh yeah, structure is not good. I'm not saying that the cube fail means concrete is also fail. No. Go and observe the structure first. Always, cube testing failure is like a postmortem. first and most important thing, don't throw away that tube. Keep that tube as a sample, histology sample, that we cancer sample we preserve. So keep that sample for further analysis. And go to site, test the surface, and then you come to the conclusion. Really, is it a concrete failure or it is some problem with the tube casting and other areas? And this is what I have just written as one of the called as a TACHA test. Suppose I will just try to switch on the sound letter. This is the best person. According to me, he is the best person who start hacking. Of course, this is not good, advisable in the durability of the structure, it's a common practice. The person who is doing this TACHA on third day, he will tell you if there is any problem. Now I am just increasing the sound. You note the difference of sound. So this is one of the tests. Suppose if we get very good ringing sound, then we have to see what went wrong with tube casting and tube testing. And another case which I am proudly showing, this is one of the site where M40 grade slab was under process. This is a normal site. Next day when carpenter is fixing starter, formwork for starter, just notice, he is using drill machine to put this nail. Now you tell me on the second day of slab casting, if he has to use drill machine to put the nail, then and your tube strength are absolutely wrong. What is the wrong? So we have to. That's why I'm saying it's a post-mortem of tube test. So this is a problem which we should address. Tube casting at site, very very important. First of all, nobody measures the slump while casting the tube. This is very important. We are having the quality manual in Tata. Our first requirement is whenever tube is cast, we have to note the slump of that particular mix. So that will give you if there is excessive slump. But our country and our engineers and our all these are so smart. We have special mixes for tube casting. So we control the mix, control the water, cast the tube, and then go with anything what we want at site. Or whenever I showed you this casting of column of by RMC, whenever concrete mixer, transit mixer come, immediately from the first few load we take the tube and we are relaxed. Let that mixer unload concrete for 3 hours. We have to follow the RMC code. Maybe 1/3 go allow, and I will say take the sample from the last 1/3. So at least if there is a redosing is happened, so we will come to know what has happened in the step. And most important is tube failure should not be a blame game. It is the failure of the RMC supplier. It is a failure. You have not cast the tube. You have not cured the tube. Don't do any game, because ultimately we are first professional. So we must go to the cause and go to the root of the cause and find a cause of that failure. So this is one thing. Then how we are casting the tubes. This is very common. Many times we don't have tamping rods at site for casting the tube, because we are having 60 mm, 20 mm rod. So we are using such a long 1.5 meter, 1 meter rod, and we cast the tube. And always after failure only we always analyze all these things. Then we don't make system initially, but we want to analyze the failure after failure. Here, if you notice, I want to highlight one thing. Let me pause the video. You can see one cube, the year date is there, 22nd 8/13. This is 23rd 8/13. That means these cubes are lying here for almost 2 days. This is yesterday's cube. This is day before yesterday's cube, and we are casting this cube. And when these cubes will give less, we will scratch our heads and what went wrong. So we want to find the reason. So follow the code perfectly. Many times I will come to that curing water temperature. Why it is required? Yes, it is given by the code. We have to follow. Yes, we want to do some additional study by casting tube at site, curing at site condition. We are free, but we should follow the code for accepting the criteria of cube testing. Then cube casting. Always cast the cube in 3-3. Don't, somebody will ask, cast 6 cube, 1 cube from each transit mixer. No. Then you will get lost in the result of interpretation. Cast at least 3 cube and you can take the 1 3-day, 1 7-day, 1 20-day. So you can do some analysis of cube test results. Here I am just showing the best example which I have pointed out in one of the roadside. See, he has taken all, because roadside we cast the cube at least 100 meters, because by the time we cast the cube, paver goes about 50 to 100 meters away. So they transport that cube in the trolley and then cast the sample and here cube. Now you can notice he has cast all cubes, he has cast 5 beams and 1 beam is left. So what he do? He will cast this beam from the next sample. And whenever these 3 beams are tested, we will find that this beam is odd man out. And our code will say 15% variation, discard the sample, discard the result. So always make sure whenever we are testing such kind of especially critical test like flexure, cast these beams at least from the same lot. Then only we can correlate the results properly. You can see here next day morning, cubes are left open, beams are left open. 24 hours, no curing. At least cover with some plastic sheet, hessian cloth like this. So it will stop the evaporation and we can relax, open the cube after, mold after 24 hours. Most important point is the curing water temperature. And this is my very good experience. We were doing some trials in January in Raipur, near Raipur, and we find that the curing water temperature was 18.9. So all our initial cube results, we were surprised, mix is good, but what is going wrong? So this was one of the areas which was going wrong, and second is this one. Curing tank. See, at our site, any site, lab is the last priority. So this, all infrastructure was ready, but our lab was not ready, and this is how cubes are cured in the drum. So based on this, we are finalizing the mix, and we don't have any proper curing tank. So this is how, as I was telling, we must have equipment, laboratory, along with all infrastructure ready, well in advance. And here I want to just share my very good experience. Same site, we were having another camp where the temperature was, we are getting good strength. So we were surprised if the ambient temperature is low at Raipur, the same will be there at 40 kilometers away. But then we find that this bore water was used for the curing tank, and bore water was having the temperature 26-28 degrees. So it's important, always we should measure the temperature of curing tank water also. And I'm sure if you compare all labs in India, maybe 1 in 1,000 labs, we will have temperature monitoring or controlling system for curing tank. I don't know, it should be made mandatory, but people have to use really if they want to do a good quality job. And lastly, I will come to the point, which is a loading. Code has given the loading of 140 kg per square centimeter per minute. So always take a stopwatch and measure and reverse calculate the rate. This 140, I'm sure this will go even up to 500, 600 also. So whenever we want to do more cubes of 28 days, we increase the setting. So this is very wrong and we get wrong interpretation of result. So we have to follow this pace judiciously. Otherwise, we get such an odd failure of cubes. This is very surprisingly, we see perpendicular. Always we get in direction of loading, but we get to the perpendicular crack at the perpendicular the rate of loading. Shear failure. And before coming to this testing of machine pattern, I will just want to show you same site. I have just taken the 2 cube mold. Code has given guidelines for the thickness of plate and weight of the cube mold. You can see this cube is a proper ISI brand, which is 13.6 kg. This is 7.8 kg. So obviously there will be a difference of about 1,000 rupees per set. So always go with the standard mold because that is going to give you the proper results of our testing. And lastly, if platons are not perfect, our cube will get uneven loading. Here you can see this carbon, we can insert the carbon and find the depression on cube. So here absolutely no loading, excessive loading. So cube will fail more where there is a loading. So if this platen, so if there is a problem with the platen of the cube mold, CTM machine, we will get incorrect results. And this is how I want to show the last clip. You can see this video. Wherever there is a white patch, you don't see any crack, but where there is a uneven loading, of course, this is not only platen, maybe the cube error, because cube may not be in same size, and then we get improper results. And ideally, we should test this dimension of cube by vernier caliper. Very rarely I have seen vernier caliper at construction laboratory, construction site level. Of course, Enable laboratory, they are using it, but why not? It can be used even at the site levels. So that is the reason to eliminate all these factors. I'm not going to touch this in detail because this subject itself is a big technology which is coming up in big way. Maybe in next 10 years, this cube casting and testing will be absolute, and we have to put some sensor in, calibrate that sensor, and we can get as on means at time what is the cast in situ strength of concrete, we can see on our app at our laptop or our mobile. So this will come in future. We are also working on this for a particular site. So this will be the future maturity method, estimation of casting strength by maturity method. So we have finished our I will start planned 1 hour, but 1 hour 5 minutes. So now we can have some questions. We can go ahead. Even I will ask the organizer to share this PPT. On this last slide, you can see mail ID is given, WhatsApp number is given. When we have started one YouTube channel of Pro Engineer, so we are posting some small videos. So these are just beginning. So in lockdown, we are just making good use of this time. So now we can have some question answers, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mahesh. It was really a wonderful session, and many small finer points which you have touched upon will certainly help our participants in getting their concrete more denser, more durable, and will give more life in the structure. So there are a lot of questions. I will request Aparna to kindly read the questions, and accordingly you can answer those questions.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we have a couple of questions. The first one is there any need to apply curing compound from bottom slab after de-shutting in case of Maivan shuttering?
See, basically, technically, yes. Technically, you have to cure from the bottom also. But practically, evaporation loss, because see, ultimately we are doing cost effective, means techno-commercially, I am talking about techno-commercial. So maximum evaporation loss will be from the top. So better take care from the top and bottom. Once in a day or twice in a day, we can just sprinkle water. That is good enough. But major evaporation loss, and again, if you see Maivan shutter, I think bottom we remove after 2 or 3 days. So the moment, I will say the most critical part, 50% critics is in the first 24 hours, balance 25 or 30% in the next 24 hours. So once we cross these 48 hours, we are out of the danger zone as far as cracking is concerned.
Second question we have, the acceptance value of cubes generally for 7 or 28 days is based on a target mean strength or characteristic compressive strength?
When we are doing trial mix, suppose if we are doing trial mix or M30, our target may be 38 or 39. So when we are achieving the strength in the laboratory for trial mix, yes, it is maybe 70%, 60% of the target strength. But when we are casting cubes at site, we have to look for the characteristic strength, and we should get that say percentage of that particular strength and not the target strength.
I think so. It is very clear. The next question is, what treatment should be done after shrinkage cracks have developed in the slab?
See, I will say this is like, first try to avoid the shrinkage cracks. First thing. Second, there are a lot of chemicals available which can be used, because shrinkage crack, the advantage of shrinkage crack in slab is the surface is horizontal. There are very good chemicals which are finer than epoxy, which can be sprayed like in our normal language, rada, cement rada. So mix with cement, pour that compound, it will percolate in the cracks, and then it can be healed. But ideally, first try to avoid the shrinkage cracks, and really if it is required, then definitely if it is you have to observe whether that really it is a shrinkage crack or any structural crack, whether that crack is growing or not. So this treatment can be done even after 1 month. So it is, don't go in a hurry. First analyze the crack, whether it is a live, means that crack is becoming wider or not, and grind it. Sometimes the crack also heals also if it is a very minor crack. So maybe after 1 month, take a call. And many times what happens, when we remove the bottom shutter, many times we notice this crack after 1 month only. So it can be treated by, there are a lot of chemicals available, but I will say avoid that. That is the best way to avoid the shrinkage cracks.
Thank you, sir. One more question. After how much time of contact should the plastic be placed over a slab so that plastic won't stick to the concrete?
Generally, after initial set of concrete, I will say normally, because it depends on climatic condition also. In summer, it may be 1.5 to 2 hours. In winter, it may be 2.5 to 3 hours. And very easy, you just press the thumb. If you get an impression, concrete is set. If you don't get the impression, you can spread the plastic sheet. And suppose you are confused, and if you put plastic sheet earlier, what will happen? It will have some marking on the slab, but those marking will be better than having shrinkage cracks. So don't delay it. Maybe slightly early is better, but don't delay it beyond this initial set.
There are a couple of questions combined with this one actually. Another one is putting ice cube to control temperature of mass concrete. What precautions should we take in this case?
Most important that ice should get melt. I will not suggest ice cubes. Either that bottled ice or ice flake can be added. We added ice flakes because that was cheaper also. But nowadays I was told that ice flakes and bottled ice is at the more or less same cost. So whatever this ice is added, especially I will suggest this should be added mainly in the RMC plant. No need to add ice in 7x10 mixer, because ice should get melted before placing the concrete.
What are
Because I say 6 of 180 cubic meter cubic. So say 100 kg. 20% should be from the water. Because ice is also material cement. This is what water. So remove ice from water. Requirement, we can add 20%, 30%, or 40% ice flakes. And second, I say we should ensure that it should get melted before.
Right, sir. So we'll take another 2 or 3 more questions. One is, which type of concrete or cement should be selected for STP plant, because there are many alkali or acidic reactions which take place?
See, if it is a sulfate treatment plant, we have done big designs for consultancy sulfate treatment plant in Goa. So there, I remember their specification was concrete with OPC. Ideally, OPC concrete is really not a good technical solution. So we must use blended cement, or if it is a SRC cement, as I said. Now sulfate treatment plant, if we want to protect only sulfate, then we should use sulfate resistant cement, where the C3A content is controlled than 5%. But that kind of cement is very, very rarely available in our country. If there are chlorides, you need to use that SRC. The best option is I will say the example of Mumbai sewage outfall. This Bandra outfall project developed in 94 or 96. They have used 70% GGBS and 30% OPC for M45 grade concrete. And at that time, so this was in 94, 96, you will not believe GGBS was costlier than cement because it was transported from Vizag. So now we are using GGBS mainly because it is cheaper also, but really it is a technical product. So first best option, 70% GGBS, 30% OPC. Next option will be the flash-based concrete, OPC with pulverized flash. If chlorides are there, go with open OPC better than SRC. But ideally, first two options should be better, with GGBS or with flash.
Yeah, thank you, sir. One more question. How does aggregate strength, that is the impact value and the crushing value, play a role in concrete M80? Can you specify any guidelines, sir?
The aggregation impact value is mainly for the road project, but really if we are looking for higher grade concrete, the aggregate will fail because of its flakiness and elongation. So combined flakiness index or elongation index, even that is also very not say guideline. I will suggest if it is M80 grade concrete, use 10 mm aggregate purely from the VSI aggregate, at least 90% passing from 10 mm. Because higher the aggregate, there is a chances that aggregate will break. So 60, yes, 20 mm can be used. 80, maybe 10 mm aggregate can be used. Or even we have tried sometimes 60 mm, 10 mm along with the wall. So that was also possible when we have used this. Even we have reached, got the results up to M100. So this is how flakiness elongation is important. And I will say the best crusher, it should be a purely 3-stage VSI crusher with a controlled fines in manufactured sand. That is the most important control to be exercised for M80 grade concrete.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Do we have time to take one or two more questions?
Okay, you can take 2 more questions.
Okay. So if in a particular project the tube has failed, then what is the corrective measure for that?
As I said, tube has failed, first find a post-mortem and don't wait for 28 days. And after 28 days, you come, so there's a tube has failed. So that is the reason I always suggest, if it is a big project, at least take some tubes at 3 days and 7 days. So any tube failure will be identified earlier. And really, if it is a problem, then next step is nothing but to go with the NDT. But NDT means there is a stations of each test, hammer test or core test. If you can extract the core, well and good, or make some provision of core, otherwise at least, and don't take 50 mm core. I will recommend minimum 75 mm core, ideally 95, 100 mm core. Then you can judge the strength of the core concrete. And of course, all this, the moment, my suggestion is, whenever there is a failure, don't hide anything. First, go to the doctor, go to the consultant, and tell him that, see, our problem is that we always try to hide from the consultant. Kuch karenge. Don't hide it from the consultant. Discuss, analyze, and go to the root cause. Really, concrete fail, structure. See, tube failure. Really, the structure concrete is good, or because tube strength and structure strength is always a difference. Because tube is hardly 150 mm square. whereas structure might be mass. So there is a different strength gain. Mainly, I will say core strength will be always higher than cube strength. So go to NDT and before a core test, go to the hammer test. Ensure that hammer is properly calibrated. It is like, go to the proper doctor. Don't go to the fake doctor. Go to the proper doctor who knows the subject, who calibrate his hammer based on laboratory cube test and not by the standard test. And even if the hammer there is a problem, then go to the core and then go to the constructor for any retrofitting, or he might have kept some margin because that column might be not that much critical. So maybe jacketing, maybe plate, maybe retrofitting, carbon wrapping. So consultant will guide for that particular strength.
I will like to interfere. Can I talk 2 minutes?
Yes, sir.
One thing. Yeah, see what happens, what type of failure. See, cube, suppose you have done M40 grade of concrete and your cube result after 28 days is M20. So it is a major failure. Sometimes what happens, M40 concrete is recommended and you are getting something 39, 38. Okay.
Yes.
So when 38, 39 is there, it is reasonably within the limit. There may be something wrong in concrete cube testing also. Sometimes many other factors are there. So we can go for NDT. But if M40 is coming M20 and continuously in many columns or many samples, that time NDT also may mislead you. Because what we do, I have got one building, 22-storied building. After completing 15 stories, I came to know that 10-story building failed. M25 concrete was only M12. I did hammer, I did everything, and 5 slabs were added meanwhile. Every 5 days, 7 days, we are putting slab in my one. Very big developer, all engineers on site. They are very notorious. Sometimes they are very notorious. They want to hide everything to protect their own interest, to protect whatever you say. But unfortunately, it came to my notice. And then I went, I did 3 tests, 10 tests, 100 tests, every time M12 to 15 it was. So this is the real failure. If it 25 is there and you get 22 results, 23, okay. Then we can wait up to 28 days, may something after also, and we can, it will not be very big problem for consultant to solve this by checking something. But now M20 by 12, after having 5 slabs, what I will do? If I do fiber, that builder will be killed by the financial problem. RMC plant will come in trouble. If Ultratech has supplied, he will be in trouble. Now I did all investigation. Very big RMC manufacturer has supplied the things. I went on site and my site engineer is showing me the slide video recording in mobile that the concrete at supply time was not good in a conference. Then I said, site people, why you allowed this? When you are observing that when pouring is happening, concrete is not good. Just you are keeping eyes and now you are telling RMC people. So we have to judge what type of failure. Better M40 is coming M20. M40 is coming 38, then okay, we go ahead. But M40 comes 20, we should stop the work. We should take whatever appropriate action. And fiber wrapping, the jacketing, they are not the good solutions. They are the worst solutions if we have no other alternate of fresh, because the person is paying the money to buy the flat. It is hard money. I and you are buying the flat. We are not going to, why we want to bring repaired material? So I always say recast it. Do proper shuttering, de-shuttering, break it and recast it. If it is 38, 40, something reasonably, 1 grade you can say. We can check whether it is fitting or not. Slab beam, maybe 1 grade, no problem there will be. But in columns, especially shear walls, tall structures, if we put a jacketing, we do fiber, or what is this? Is buyer knowing that we are doing this? So we should try to avoid. We should try to take the test in correct time. And moment the result comes, those site people, mostly they are good. Sometimes they have their own interest. They don't hide to show the developer that they are doing proper work. But once the things go out of limit, then they come out. And many cases are happening every day. So we all have to be very cautious. NDT is not going to solve. NDT itself is not confirmatory test. Otherwise, you take core test. I am also in that committee, NDT test, how it is going to be revised. There are some people who advocate sanctity, but no, it is okay for old buildings. For new buildings, when a buyer is putting his lifetime money, he's getting defective materials delivered by us. Is it right? No.
I will add, sir, one thing. That is the reason I said first test at 3 days also, 7 days also, and really at 7 days there is a major problem. Stop the work.
Yes,
And-
Mahesh is right. This is the way we should.
And if really, and sir, and I will tell you, with the blended cement, with blending with fly ash or GGBS, one grade can be easily crossed within 56 days. So if it is a marginal failure by one grade, that can be easily taken care by the 56 days. But it should not happen that
we should get 28 days. Code, see, this is another problem. 28 must, in case of failure of Q, it is a different issue. See.
I was saying it should not be a common practice.
See, I am getting proposal from site people saying that you accept 56. I said you put the revised IS code first, then we will talk this. 28
That
days.
should be
we
a common
must
practice.
get 28.
It should not
We
be a
must-
common practice.
If concrete Q fails, that is a different issue. Then we have to see review. But 20 concrete comes 10, how it will cross 20? It is not.
No,
After 3 months, 5 more
10
steps.
to 10 to 15%, not more than that. Not
And
more than
especially now you are making high-rise buildings, 20 stories, 30 stories, 40 stories, is very difficult. Especially column comes coming.
I will
Sorry.
just explain you. Sorry, I will just explain one thing. One consultant I know from Mira Road area, he has asked me to investigate the whole G+7 structure. Then I had suggested him maybe the RMC concrete. Let them give me the schedule of concreting. Suppose concrete transit mixer comes, he has cast 10 columns. I will test 8, 9, 10 columns of particular day. Then I will go ahead. So always test the last column which is cast, because that is the most problematic column, and we should have proper data after arriving at site how many time was taken to unload that concrete. That is the most important problem.
Many times the site people don't allow RMC people to concrete in time. Tanker comes there, mixer comes there, and they are not ready with their
They are not ready.
fitter and carpenters have not finished their work. So they ask him to wait. And the result, you know what will happen. So site plans,
thank you.
whenever site plans are there, they are good practice. But when it is coming from outside, we should be very clear in timing. Within well reasonable time, we have to concrete.
Right.
And one slab after 7 days was not setting. So what I did, I said, remove shuttering, it will come down. That RMC person was saying, put boiled water in this. I said, what boiled water will do? 7 days it is not setting. Initial setting is not happening. So many times what happened, many complex problems are there. Mahesh knows better than me, he's concrete man. But what I have observed, now we should be very much, we have to monitor it during concrete also, and after initial setting also. And after 3 days, 7 days, we must take proper cues, even 14 days. If we are failing, we should ask proper person, concrete technician and concerned people what action to be taken. But this fiber and this thing, jacketing, and they are all repairing matter, we should not involve. Fresh building. When I am buying fresh flat, I should get fresh flat. Are you going to buy repair TV by paying new cost? No, nobody. Okay.
Good, sir. Thanks for the good call you have stretched, and we had a lot of discussion on it. I think many people will get benefited out of this discussion. There are a lot of questions which are already pouring in, and they are still there are some questions which are not answered. But anyone who has got his question not answered, they can directly get in touch with Mr. Mahesh Tendulkar. His email ID is there in on the screen. Also, you can get in touch with the ISSC members from whom you will also get your question answered. So now we are at the end of the program. I will request Mr. Madhav Chikodi ji to give the vote of thanks.
Namaskar. Friends, good evening. I am Madhav Chikodi, a structural engineer from Dombivli. Friends, today with us we have various participants, civil engineers, architects, developers, contractors, engineers from KDNC, MIDC, professors from engineering college, and even final year engineering students. In 2 words, I will call we all are concrete lovers. Concrete for civil engineers is like wife. You have to take care of selection, processing, taking care. All is equally important. And in spite of all, it is bound to crack, and that too very occasionally. So what we have learned in concrete technology, try to minimize the cracks. And if crack widens, as said by Mahesh and Shantilalji, then we had to no alternative than to strengthen. And please don't misunderstand, because I am at home and I will not comment more. Anyway, friends, jokes apart, now let me perform my pleasant task of proposing vote of thanks. In ISSC committee, we were discussing about the seminar in Dombivli Kalyan area, and I was given the responsibility. But due to COVID-19 pandemic, we had to cancel the 20th March event, and now it is converted into today's webinar. Friends, I am of strong opinion, when one door is closed, God opens many doors. And we were expecting some registrations, but today I am happy to see almost it is doubled. So thanks to the technology through which we could connect. Friends, when the subject was discussed, because in our area there are so many concrete problems we are facing, and various challenges in terms of concrete grade, strength, durability, then repairs of hardened concrete and whatnot, many problems. So as a matter of guest speaker, we had in mind Mr. Tendulkar, who else, who is a stalwart as far as concrete is concerned. We have many technologies in the past, Professor Remedios, C.N. Dodi sir, and many more. So concrete for, I will just share in Amitabh Bachchan's language, for Mahesh Tendulkar, he can talk concrete, he can walk concrete, he can eat concrete, and he can sleep concrete. Such is the man. Friends, today is the World Environment Day, and Mr. Mahesh has nicely unfolded the journey from grey concrete to green concrete. And now we have come to know it is not the concrete which is good or which is bad, but it is the entire process, which is step-by-step process, right from procuring material, preparation of concrete, then transporting, casting, curing. Friends, every process in the concrete is one-time affair. Please note, if you don't take care, it is bound to create defects. Material quality, proportioning, water cement ratio, plastic hazard doses, selection of plastic hazard, cover blocks, reinforcement quality, and up to curing. So what you need is an engineered process, which is nicely explained by Engineer Mahesh Tendulkar. Thank you, Engineer Mahesh, for your outstanding presentation, and we will continue to contact you for fresh knowledge of concrete. And special thanks from me personally, Mahesh, for being associated with me for last 30+ years, right from engineering classroom. Friends, we have shared benches, tiffins, assignments, and many more, including drawing sheets, the GTs. Anyway, those were the days. Secondly, I am thankful to Ultratech Cements for joining hands in all knowledge sharing programs. ISSC and Ultratech had decided minimum 6 programs in a year, and today's event was one of those. Special thanks to Arvind Mahajan sir, Prasad sir, Ashish Sontake, who was available for us in case of logging failure, and Vivek Sonje, who is assigned by Ultratech for Dombivli Kalyan area. I am sure our long relationship with Ultratech will benefit civil engineering fraternity, and together we will build strong and durable structures. Now about our ISSC team, our President Shantilalji is always behind us for various activities like seminars, student chapters in engineering colleges, site visits, communication to government authorities. Friends, we have 11 committees for various tasks. Thank you, Shantilalji, for your motivation and all-time support. Our ISSC Secretary Hemant Wadalkar is like a spinal cord of our organization, and he controls all the activities. Also, he minutely observes and guides all committees of ISSC. Most importantly, he is taking care of our quarterly bulletin. And Mansi madam, who is taking care of our treasury, but standing by us all the time. Thank you, madam. And my colleagues Rangnath Satam and Paresh Unarkar, who help me from time to time for various programs. Friends, for all the participants, please reply to mail which you will be receiving from Ultratech so that you can get the presentation. And lastly, friends, all the participants, because without your participation, program cannot be successful. And thank you, bottom of my stay safe.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Shantilalji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ashish, for yesterday's good introduction to this platform. Thanks.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir.
Okay, we can sign off the program.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.